Hey, welcome back. Episode 2 of Camp Barnabas and Doug interviewing the crazy guys. That's not an official title, but it works. My name is Doug Robbie. I am from Jesus is the Gate Fellowship here in Springfield, Illinois. And I have been roped into doing a mission trip to Mardi Gras. This will be my third year coming through, and it's been great. Last year, on my morning broadcast, I did a week of NGL, which was where I sat there in similar garb. Forgive me, I asked you if you had your hat. My hat is behind that wall, and I literally came from work to do this, so I made myself a little too tight on time. But last year I did a week of it where I dressed in full hoodie and hat, and I gave my testimony of myself going to my first year and what it did for me. And I didn't want to just repeat that. I wanted to get other people involved with this, people who have similar experiences, more experiences, and so forth of what it's like. So today, our humbled and honored guest is actually my first year group leader, my table leader, Tim Hay. Hey, Tim. I know, I heard that so many times there. So Tim Hay is one of the tenured veterans with Mardi Gras, with NGL and Barnabas Camp, and we're here to hear about his angle on his perspective on it. And he's been there more than once, so we're going to learn more about that and what that means, and just find out more about Tim and what makes him tick, and how big of a crazy pill he takes each year. So Tim, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. I know, work life schedules, these kinds of things can be difficult and challenging, but thank you for making the time. I appreciate that. And thank you, Mrs. Hay, in the background for making it available for us. So we promise not to keep him too long out of reach. So Tim, as we mentioned, I sent you a bunch of questions on things, and we're going to stay on script to the best that we can. Just tell the people listening a little about yourself, and we'll start with that. Who is Tim Hay?
I'm a medical technologist working in a hospital in the Quad Cities. I work full-time day shift with on the weekends. I work sort of a second shift, setting up and working with bacteria, bacteria and cultures of all different types. When I'm not working at my job, I'm a member of a choir in my home church in Aledo, Illinois. I just completed 2 years as men's club president. So we transitioned in January. We transitioned to a new president, and I'm able to step back in that role. I'm a member of the PPRC in the for the church, and also the lead person in the safety area. So I keep busy when I'm not at church, and of course around the house we have several cats and dogs and some chickens and a duck that we have housed at the house. So I am quite busy.
Quite busy. Never boring. Never boring. Clearly obvious, right? Um, that's fantastic. That's awesome. Um, so married how long now?
Just celebrated 18 years.
Oh, that's all. I didn't know it was that long. That's good. So yeah, she's put up with you that long. Cool.
Yes, she has.
uh, um, I do you have fur babies? Do we have any other family involved or anything?
No,
Oh,
just
okay.
just for babies.
Cool. Which can be equally rewarding. I mean, I've got two children. I've got a house full of hair. So no, I understand. It's good. It's good. Um, so you kind of touched on it momentarily. Tell me about your home church. How long have you been there? Your pastor, et cetera, that kind of thing.
We I moved to Aledo in 2001
Okay.
and started going to Aledo Methodist Church. We're roughly around 150 to 200.
Oh, that's good.
Routinely right around 100 on regular Sunday.
Okay,
Uh,
cool. So, oh, I'm sorry. If you had more there, go ahead. I'm.
I, we have an older pastor that I've become working with PRC. We work side by side and have gotten to get to know him. And he's also a member of the Walk to Emmaus community and is a leader in that community as well.
Oh, is he? Okay, okay. And I didn't actually put that down, but we may have time to we may circle back around to talk about Emmaus in a moment here. So we both have been on one of those walks. Um, when it comes to Mardi Gras, the mission trip, again, one of the reasons you're on this call here or this interview, I wanted to talk to you, is again you've been there more than 1 year, so you are a veteran because there's not a lot of repeats. There's a many people that come once and that's it. What year did you start? What year did you go the first time?
2013 was my first year.
2013.
Yes.
So this year, so last year
Well,
was year 10.
I was thinking maybe it was later. I was thinking 12 or 13. I
Okay,
think 12 or 13. So
gotcha,
it might have
gotcha.
been 11, 12. The time flies when you're having fun.
Yes. um, so has it been, and there's no condemnation on the answer, have you been consecutive years or is
Yes,
it
it's all been consecutive.
at all 10 of them, right? Um, how was it? How was the initial trip presented to you? How how did that come about? How did you first hear about it 10 years ago, 11 years ago?
Pastor Jeff Bilmer was our pastor at the time, and he had been taking guys for several years before I went because I was in a position where I couldn't get my schedules freed up. So
Sure.
finally was able to arrange a week to go and take in and just listening to their take on Mardi Gras and watching the videos that Fred had posted on his website intrigued me enough to want to go.
Got it. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, and I think we'll come back around to this question really quick. Well, no, we'll stay in the order here. Um, so I think you kind of answered the question already. Um, you were intrigued. You were not necessarily hesitant
Yeah,
toward it. You were just
no.
like, let's go, let's do this.
When I could when I could clear my schedule, I was interested.
Got it. Got it. Now, again, the signature reason I picked you, as we discussed before we started the recording, um, the reason I picked you is of many people out there. Everybody's got a reason to not do something. Um, it is my opinion. And again, you were my group leader, and I saw you. I'm like, how, how is he doing this? I saw the challenges that you were going under. I mean, and I said this on the previous call, especially with people who are thinking about coming. You know, they talk about room and board, how we sleep, and I preface it with, this is not, this is not staying at the Ritz. You know,
Oh no.
the first year, I know I am 6'2", and the beds are not. That's
Yep.
the best way of saying it, right? It is. Most of the bunks are sleeping upstairs, and it's not a traditional upstairs. Is two flights of stairs and they're steep. And and I saw how you walk, and you know the days that we walk hard, and there's. I mean, I remember you watching your step counter. It was pretty. I mean, you were blowing your step count way out the water. Um, So in that regard, um, the first time you went, I'm sure you had to think about some of that. And each time you go, you have to think. And now apparently it's gotten a little better, or it's going to be better next
Mhm.
year.
Yeah.
But what kind of prep do you have to do, knowing, I this is going to hurt? There's going to be physical pain involved. I can't let it stop me. I'm not going to let it stop me. What does that look like for you?
I think going down, it's I'm gonna do everything that I can possibly do with regards to my ability to walk, and I'm gonna present myself in a way that best presents how Christ works through me. You
Yeah,
know, my stated goal is to be the hands and feet. You have to be present,
yeah,
and in some cases that's 5 days to die to oneself and to get out and be the hands and feet, and the use of Tylenol and other.
you come armed.
Yeah, I come armed.
I got a pill for that. I'm
Um,
hang on a minute.
yeah, and I use, and
Yeah.
you do what you got to do.
I will go this way because I just feel like it's the right spot, and we talked about this beforehand. So you guide this. Would you mind, if you will, almost like a prescription pad, hit itemize, if you will, just the each thing. What ailments do you deal with that really come into play in this mission trip for you?
In the mission trip,
Yeah.
obviously with the graves, any kind of excessive um, lifting, walking real fast, I get palpitations.
Okay.
Something that the only time they're not really evident is when I'm under the cross.
Is
The
that right?
heart doesn't really react to the kind of weight that I'm carrying around, and it's like it's calm for whatever
Really?
reason when I'm carrying the cross. And obviously, I'm carrying a bag with it, so I might carry an extra weight besides the cross. You would think with that excessive, um, the palpitation should be very evident, but it is not. It's
before
kind of funny that way.
before you go
Right
to the
afterward.
right before you go to the next condition, I want to put like a little asterisk on this to understand what we're talking about with the cross. You'll see the picture behind me. This is actually
Mm,
the banner. I had
yeah.
mine drop up on my house, and we hung it up back there. I wanted to make sure that was there. The cross that we carry, it is when we bring the cross into the place where we build the thing, because it takes a bolt. It is, refresh my memory. Is it two or is it three railroad ties? It's actually three, isn't it?
Well,
Because you got the
I think
cross
it's
member,
three.
one, and then two.
Yep.
So it's
There's at
technically,
least three.
yeah. So it's the weight of three railroad ties, the wood version. Those are bolted together. And what we do is we're helping each other, but still the person in the front is still carrying that
Mm,
up a cobbled stone street road,
yep.
and people are not cheering for you. And we're not even going to talk
Well,
about that right now. But it's the fact it's not a straight shot. You have to turn. You have to do all these things. You feel it driving into your shoulder. I felt it. It knocked me off
yeah.
balance. I'm sure. I'm assuming that I could probably do more push-ups than you and so forth. You understand, but I
Oh,
mean,
without a doubt.
you're still able to do that with what your testimony was just. That sounds like a grace situation there, grace on the graves. so, I just
From
wanted to touch base with that really quick here. So, um,
from the other physical aspects, I have
yes.
a left ankle that I have flat feet, so the bones in my feet have shifted anteriorly. So I'm basically walking on the inside of my ankle.
So you're walking
Um,
like this, right?
yes.
Okay, got it. Got it.
and the right ankle is started to shift off the main axis. So the main bone in my right leg is starting to walk on this on it. It's not as bad as the left. The left is definitely shifted and rotated.
Wow. Okay. Did you mention a sugar issue as well?
I am a diabetic,
Okay.
um, which I have medicine that I take to help control. With all the steps, I don't necessarily worry about the carbs and the food that we take in because we eat very, very, very well
It
when
burns right off.
when we're on campus.
Yeah.
Um, so that I think I end up a net zero with all the walking that we do.
Yes. I do remember listening to you. It's like, well, it was like 10 a.m. Step count's done.
Yeah,
It was I really did when I saw, because I didn't know who you were. I mean, you rode behind me on the bus all the way down there that first year.
mhm.
I didn't know who you were. I get there, they're like, you're my group leader. Oh, okay. And if I may, the man hacked a lung up the entire way from St. Louis down to New Orleans. Like, is this guy gonna live? Again, we hadn't met, we didn't know, and
Mhm.
God just really humbled me in that trip. So, but did you did you have a sleep issue as well? I don't want to just
I have
separate.
sleep apnea.
So you had the mask as well, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Last question in that. Um, you slept upstairs,
Yes.
right? And I think you might be older than I am. I'm 49. You could just say if you are or not. You don't have to say how old you are, but
I'm
you're
56.
okay. So it's about to climb these stairs in this building. It's not something that you want to do. If you forgot something upstairs, you know what? I'll live without that. And he sleeps upstairs. I'm not embellishing what he has to
Mhm.
go through. I'm saying he's willing to not only use his vacation time every year for the past 10 years. These obviously, I'm assuming your physical condition and medical conditions have not gotten better throughout the past
No.
10 years. They've gotten more grave, more concerned. And yet you keep coming. Why?
Be the hands and feet of Jesus.
Yeah. You are an inspiration, man. You really are. Don't let anybody ever tell you different. Now moving on to maybe a little lighter tone. Again, I've never met your wife, um, so obviously then if you've been going for well, actually, yeah, I didn't do the math. You could do it for me, yeah, and if you remember the questions, uh, you were married before you started coming.
Yes.
Okay, how long had you been married before, or you know what I mean?
We got married in 2006, and it
It's
was
about 7 years.
11. Yeah.
About 7 years. Got it.
Yeah.
Was understanding the atmosphere of Mardi Gras, not just even New Orleans, but of Mardi Gras, and staying in a PG-13 range, we understand what we're talking about. What was her initial reaction to you saying? Did she know about it before you knew about it? Did you come home and tell her about it? How did that go down?
We had been talking for a couple of years about going. So
Okay,
she was kind of aware, and she's seen some of the video, the police videos of what Mardi Gras was like, and I think every year is the main thing is being the safety aspects of not being able to protect me while I'm down there, and that's
understood.
one of the
Is she? Is she?
uh,
She's nodding. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right.
and she's a 911 dispatcher, so she's
I
aware of
forgot.
also the concerns.
I forgot about that. I forgot. I remember you telling me that, and I forgot about that. A year when you're doing these things. Are there any weird challenges? I'm going to phrase it a little differently because I noticed I did it weird with him. Are there any weird challenges to getting on the road? Now, when I say getting on the road, like even, it's now we're 60 some days out, right? Do
Mhm.
things start popping up? Oh, that's a whatever. Do things like that have they come up over the past 10 years where you had to really, all right, I'm doing this, just have to settle and whatever. What does that look like for you?
I think the weirdest part is getting on the road at 1 or 2 in the morning
I forgot
to
about
get down to St.
that.
Louis and Pennsylvania. That's why I'm usually sitting in the back taking a nap because I've been up all night.
So getting on the road
Um,
by one, are you leaving your driveway at 1 a.m. or do you guys meet at it's just
yeah,
you?
if it's just me, it's between 1 and 1:30. I'm hopping in the vehicle to come down.
Gotcha.
This year I may have a. Right now I have someone that's going with me, so
Sweet. Share the
it's
driving.
a gentleman who's been there multiple times.
Yeah,
Probably, I'm just looking forward to having Bill back
that's
to
awesome.
go down.
That's fantastic. Awesome. So really it's more than a full day for you of
Oh yeah,
travel. It's more than a full day of travel. Yeah.
yeah. It's 5 hours to get from where I'm at to St. Louis to
Right.
climb on the bus to go for another 8.5.
Yes. Yes. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, and this question, the next two questions, I think many of them are focused around your excusable limitations, right? If I'm saying that right. Um, when you're down there, there's lots of activities, right? Um, and I kind of backtracked on that last night. I had to explain what that means. It's not just going down the Bourbon Street and handing out tracks. It's a lot of things we do. We do
Hmm.
street preaching. We do a lot of walking. We do a clown ministry, and it's really you have to get outside your comfort zone for some of us. There's go around and just kissing babies, so to speak. But there's a lot of different things serving inside the building, from the
Hmm.
large group worship set to the small table, breakouts and praying with one another. And I'm not going to go into detail on this, but I remember the first year um, you had a pretty good breakthrough. The Holy Spirit really ministered to you at the table, and it was awesome to be a part of that. Of the activities that we do, both inside or outside, what activity do you enjoy the most? We'll start with that one. Which one do you enjoy the most?
Probably the worship time,
Oh,
and the praying for others during both inside our group and outside our group.
got it. Got it.
Um, and just the worship that we get to do down there as men, because we come together and become a group, and just the worship time for the men.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just different. It's just different. It's an
Yeah.
opportunity. You can be more free for a lot of people around people you don't know sometimes, and we're all dudes, and it is what it is, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I agreed. It is a very intense time of worship. So again, if there's a 10, there's always a zero. Um, what ministry activity do you just not care for? If that was skipped, it wouldn't be a problem.
Boy, I'd have to say the clowning is probably the one thing that, as a leader, you do because you're the leader, but you know you still have to kind of show up and do your
Yeah.
yes, very
Yes.
much so.
Yeah. I don't like to sing better than you do, guys, but we got a job to do. We
Yeah.
just put this stuff on for the heck of it. Let's do it, right? No.
Find
And
those individuals that love to get out in front of people and use them to allow them to enjoy that spiritual freedom that they've been given and support them in the background.
who was the guy at our table? The young guy. He sat to my left and your right. he had the really strange name. I can't remember his name all of a sudden. You know who I'm talking
I
about
think,
though.
yeah,
He was
I
from
think,
Nebraska. He didn't
mm-hmm.
make it back last year. I think it was work related, but that dude was just
Yeah,
on fire.
yeah,
He loved the clown ministry.
yeah.
He owned it. It was an honor to watch him work. I can't remember his name to say. It was weird. It was like an Iceland name or something like that. But he
Mm-hmm.
was as American as we are. So, but it was really cool. So, um,
I
so
believe his name was Echo.
Echo, yes, 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 yes. I kept seeing the weird name like Reykjavik, but I was like, no, it was it. That's right.
Right.
Echo was like a nickname or something that he went
Yeah.
by, but everybody knew him. I was like, "Who's
Mm-hmm.
Echo? Me?" I was like, "Oh, okay." He was cool. He was a
Yeah.
ball of energy, and he was awesome. Um, how how has and I understand this is a two-part question. How has the trip changed you over this past 10 years?
Definitely, from a spiritual side, definitely more driven to study the Word. I was sort of a warm Christian before the trips and have become more on fire for Christ.
Okay,
And every year I go down, I get more on fire. I come back tired, obviously,
yeah,
but it's a good tired.
yeah, yeah. A very rewarding time. Yes, yes. So it kind of built into that second question. So the trip has changed you, but it's also caused you to draw closer to Him, drawing
Yes.
your relationship with God. Um, do you do you find yourself? I've said it with many people before. If you can preach and share Jesus at Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday, you can do it anywhere. Do you find this? Do
Right.
you find it more?
Um, yes, I can talk to anyone at church or on the streets. I have coworkers that are Christian women that we get together and pray. We have Caleb blaring throughout the day, and
Awesome.
that's also a good thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, bringing home the pepper. I'm not sure exactly how long we've been going here. And it wasn't. It had to go a certain amount of time. It's some people are. Um, I was careful in who I picked. I didn't want somebody who hold, slow down, come back, come back. I'm not a professional at this. I just I do a lot of work, but so I guess I'm professional, but yeah, I'm not trained. um, what would you say to a young man, whether you know them or whether you don't? What would you say to a young man or an older man thinking about coming?
It'll be a trip that will be life changing. Whether if it's your first time, you'll definitely experience the love of Christ both down on the streets because you'll appreciate what he's done for you. And for the older individual, there's something for everyone to do on campus. And we have an older group that goes out and can participate as long as they can, and then they can be brought back to either the larger bus or they go back to campus. And uh, there's a niche to be filled for all ages. If
Yeah.
you're just new, just getting down and experiencing Mardi Gras through, we don't dump you in the middle of Bourbon Street and walk away. We sort we sort of slowly walk you into the waters and get you kind of warmed up to the idea of, you know, preaching the gospel down on the streets.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
you know, a couple of years ago when you were new, we don't just throw you out and we kind of warm you up. There's steps, and but you're not left alone to
Right.
go by yourself. You
Yeah.
have someone that's been there walking you through each of the different steps.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not about, it's like, I can't do this. Well, no, you can't do this. You haven't tried yet. You may be really good at this. Let's just try. You
Yeah,
may suck really bad at it. That's okay. That's why there's something, as you just said, there's something for everyone, and there's
yeah,
great mentorship and so forth. Uh, I remember sharing this with somebody else. I remember sharing it last night. I shared it last year when I did my week on the podcast. I said one night I was there. I mean, it was the longest month of my life that week down there. And yes, I did
yeah,
not say it wrong. I said exactly
yeah,
how I felt about it. I remember looking around one night. I said this on the prior interview. Um, Looking around, I knew what I was dealing with in here. I was dealing with all kinds of stuff in here, and you will. And I remember
yeah,
looking around one night and saying, "What do these old guys possibly know about what I'm feeling?" I remember I'm just inwardly, I'm just kicking a can. I told people if I could have flown home, I would have. I don't know if I told you that or not. I mean, you're my group leader, but I was dealing with a lot of stuff. And as I 2 nights later, not even 2 nights later, I remember looking around. I was staying in the same place, virtually the same landscape. I remember the thought I had was completely different. I said, "This is the strongest group of men I've ever met in my life." Because God just was doing something in me. It was just rapidly. I know I was a soupy mess, um, but it was awesome. It was awesome. So, um, Tim, again, thank you for being willing to do this. I know, knowing you, I know we're not best buddies, but we spent a month together at the table. I say it that way again. Uh,
mm,
you're my group leader. You nurtured seeing someone who was, he has no idea what he's doing, but he's sticking it out, and you did a great job leading that year. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for bearing it through. Thank you for being a testimony to people who say, "Well, I do this, I can't do that, I can't." Yeah, try. Just try. Just do it. Do it for Jesus. Nothing else. If you do it one time, you do it one time, but it'll change you forever. So, thank you for honoring Him with your body, in your pain, and I think that's an awesome testimony of the cross that it doesn't bother you. I mean, that's a heavy beast. It really is. So. I
yeah.
look forward to seeing you down this year, man.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing you. I less than a month. It should be an interesting trip.
Absolutely.
Given the atmosphere we're walking into,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. God's preparing the way. Souls will be saved. People will be touched, changed. Repentance will flow, and it'll be good. So, Tim, be blessed, man.